You are not gonna believe what I got to do today. There are so many options for my future, so I'm gonna look around now while I have the chance. Join me as I explore the world of work. Today I am at Sullivan County Emergency 911 Communications Center.
My name is Alex Rao. I'm the 911 coordinator for Sullivan County. My job entails running the 911 system and making sure that it's operational, managing the staffing, and managing the technology of the 911 center.
Alex has been in his profession for so long. He even started working in emergency services since he was 16. That's pretty amazing.
In Sullivan County, back in 1987, is when the county decided that they were going to organize and create what they, at the time they called the Emergency Control Center. So in 1987, they established a emergency control center, which used to be located across the way here upstairs there in the old building. And it was a one-room dispatch center with two little desks in it. And that's how, and we didn't have 911 at the time. So what happened was people would call a 7-digit number, 583-7100, and that number would come to us, and we would dispatch all the fire, ambulance, and police at the time. And then with the advent of 911 throughout the 90s, the county decided to switch into a 911 system and build an actual 911 center. So later on in 1999, 2000, we moved into this building, which is now known as the Sullivan County 911 Center. And that's when 911 began for Sullivan County. We have a kitchen area because dispatchers work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They work holidays, so it's important that they have a facility where they can cook, make some food. They're not allowed to leave the building.
Wow, they're very busy then. All
they
day.
are. They're very engaged, and they're dedicated, so they have to be ready to answer the phone at any time. So. We do have refrigerators and cooking during holidays. Sometimes they'll bring in a turkey and have a family-style dinner right here with their partners in a family environment. So it's important to us that they be available and ready for calls and not leave the building to go get lunch or meals. So.
You never know when something might happen.
Yeah, two main things we do. We take calls from the public, from citizens, from tourists, from bystanders. If they have a 911 emergency, we receive those calls and we also provide them help. A 911 dispatcher is a true first responder. Okay, so as soon as you dial 911, that dispatcher is not only getting information from you, but they're also giving you instructions on what to do until help arrives. Whether that's how to deliver a baby, whether that's how to stop bleeding. If someone's trapped in a house, they'll start to tell you how to, protect yourself and get out of a house if it's on fire. So they do provide, a lot of information before help even arrives on the scene.
Wow, so that must be pretty complicated. How many calls do you get about each day?
We average about 200 calls a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is definitely a busy operation, and we handle about 90,000 phone calls a year into the 911 system, and that results in about 35,000 incidents a year. So you have to take into account that at an accident on the street, 4 people may call 911 for the same accident. So that's why the phone number is a little bit higher than the actual incident number.
Right.
And the other part of the chain that we provide service for is our first responders. The dispatcher's job is to make sure that we're here protecting the first responders as well. So we're their lifeline. So when a responder's out on a scene, the radio back to here is their lifeline for additional help if they need it. So we support fire departments, ambulance corps, law enforcement agencies. We also communicate with the DEC, with utility companies, state agencies, utility companies. In fact, just before you got here, I got a call from a dam, the Eagle Creek Dam down in the Rio, and they have, they're doing some work on the dam, and they notified us just so that we're aware of it. So we interface with a lot of different entities.
Yeah.
That's why, if you notice, there's a lot of mice here. 1, 2, 3, 4 mice. operate different things.
Right.
So the radio system, again, is all computer-based. This is how we tone out the fire department. So what town do you live in?
I live in Monticello.
Okay, so in Monticello, if there were a fire, we would find, so Monticello is station 22, right there. We would find station ST22, and we would hit the red button. We'd hit the red button, and that would set off their siren to let the fire department know that they have a call. It will also set off their pagers. A lot of firemen wear a pager, and EMS people wear a pager just like this. So when we hit that button, their pager will go beep, 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 and let them know that they have an emergency call to go to.
I don't know how they remember how to do all of this stuff. First, they're helping someone and walking them through their situation, and then they're trying to locate them on a map. There could even be 4 different mice that you need to use over here. And you need to locate all these different buttons for different fire departments, police stations, EMS. It's crazy.
As I mentioned earlier, when someone calls 911, including a young adult or a teen or a child even, we've had callers as young as 5 years old call us to report incidents, and that's good. We want, if you see something, you should say something. So if you see something bad happening, make sure you do call 911 and let us know what's happening, and we can get help there. We, as I mentioned, we are here to help. So if anybody calls 911, including a child, we're going to ask a series of questions. If it's a medical call, we use a card set here, which they're pre-scripted questions. So for example, I just opened a card to back pain. So if somebody's having back pain, we would ask these specific questions so that we know what kind of help to send you as far as an ambulance goes. If you have a police emergency, we'll ask you a different set of questions. But again, we're always going to give you some instructions as well on what to do until help gets there.
That's great.
Yep. The other important factor for children to understand, we get a very, very, very many 911 hang-up calls. What a 911 hang-up call is, somebody takes a phone, they dial 911, but then they get scared, or they dialed it by accident, or they were just playing around, so they hang up the phone real quick. And what happens then, that call does connect into our center, and we get it as what we call a 911 hang-up call. And as I showed you earlier, we do get the address of where that call originated from. So we're going to try to call you back and just see if everything's okay.
Yeah.
If for some reason we don't get a hold of you, we have to send police there to check on you. Okay, so unfortunately, if kids are playing with the phone or people are playing with the phone, it wastes a resource. It ties up a police resource that we have to send out there to make sure you're okay. So if you're just playing with the phone, that's a bad thing, because that police officer may be coming to check on you and you're fine because you were playing with the phone.
Right.
But on the other end of town, somebody may be having an emergency. So another important factor too, especially in today's society, is 911 can be accessed by text as well. So we implemented a service about 3 to 4 years ago now. It's called Text to 911, and that allows, we know that many teenagers and young adults today are utilizing text a lot more than they are the telephone. So, and there's also maybe situations where a person can't call 911. For example, maybe a kidnapping, or if you're being held against your will, or you're hiding in a closet, you may not be able to pick up the phone and make noise or make a phone call.
Right.
So you may opt to text 911, just 911, type your message and then send, and we will receive that here, and we'll be able to type back to you in a text format, so that we can send you help, we can ascertain what's happening, and we can get you the help that you need. Text to 911 should be a last resort, because there are some challenges.
It's obviously not quite as efficient as calling.
It's not exactly. It's not as efficient, and also some of the mapping and us being able to find a text device is sometimes more challenging than if you were to pick up the phone and call. So finding location is a little more challenging for us to do that.
Right.
And it does take longer. So it should be avoided if you can help it. Always pick up the phone and call us. However, as a last resort, you can text to 911.
I did not know how important these people's jobs are at the 911 call center. They could be the last words that someone hears, or even the voice that saves them. That's amazing.
So being a dispatcher is a very rewarding job. You know, we bond very quickly with a 911 caller. We have about 1.5 to 2 minutes to establish a relationship with a caller, find out what's happening, and it is a very stressful job because a lot of times a 911 dispatcher will be the most important call that person's making in their lives. They're having some type of a crisis, so it becomes very stressful for a dispatcher also. They have to be prepared at a second's notice to deal with a person trapped in a burning building or somebody giving birth to a baby. And how to give instructions and see that caller through it is very demanding. So there is a lot of stress involved with being a 911 dispatcher. Not to mention the responsibility of you know, looking over fire departments, ambulance corps, and police departments to make sure that the officers, firefighters, and EMTs, paramedics are all safe in the field.
What kind of training or education would you need to work at the 911 call center?
So all of our dispatchers, they have high school diplomas. They also have to have a valid driver's license in case we ever had to, you know, depart this building and go to our backup. So they need a means of transportation to get down there. But also they need to have experience in emergency services. So all of our dispatchers have at least 3 years of emergency services experience, whether it be a firefighter, a law enforcement individual, or a EMT or a paramedic. They must have experience in emergency services, and that really gives them a good foundation to be able to help someone.
I'm so grateful to have this experience to come here and see what all of their jobs are like. It is amazing how much they do here and how important their job is. It can be super stressful for them too, but it's amazing how they keep going through it and saving lives. Before I have to run home and deal with an emergency, I'm going to ask this question. If you could give your 11-year-old self advice or words of wisdom to prepare yourself for the world of work, what would it be?
I think I would tell myself to follow my passion. I'm very fortunate. I've been here with the 911 Center for 25, almost 26 years, and I've always been involved. For the last 30 years, I've been involved in emergency services as a paramedic, and later as you know, as a 911 dispatcher. And I think I would tell myself, I know I would tell myself, just continue doing what I love doing, helping people, following my passion. And I can tell you, in 26 years, there's been very few days where I felt like I was going to work. I was going to do something I love doing, and that's helping other people. So I would tell myself, just, you know, keep following what's fun and what I love doing, and, you know, the rest will fall into place.